The next time the power goes out, open the drawer where you keep your flashlights. Count the dead batteries, the ones that leaked, the ones that were full a year ago and are flat now. That drawer is the whole problem sitting in one place. You paid for a backup that quietly expired while you weren't looking. Your grandmother never opened a drawer of dead batteries during an outage. She struck one match, and the room filled with light that burned for 11 hours straight. The thing on her table cost a few dollars and lasted decades. Welcome to the Survival Research. If you're not subscribed yet, hit subscribe and the bell. This is where we dig up the cheap, old solutions the industry made sure you'd forget. The thing in your drawer cost more and died in a single season. The difference is not an accident. It was sold to you on purpose. Here's the number nobody in the preparedness aisle will say out loud. Gasoline for your generator starts breaking down in about 3 to 6 months. Sealed kerosene sits on a shelf for roughly 5 years and still lights on the first try. One of those fuels was built to be bought again. The other was built to be forgotten. Guess which one they put on the end cap with the tactical branding. The flashlight you were sold runs on a battery that dies whether you use it or not. Lithium loses charge sitting still. Alkaline leaks and eats the contacts alive. Every backup light in that drawer carries an expiration date you were never told about. Stop for 1 second, because this is the part that matters. Everything I'm about to show you is in the suppressed file. The exact lamp models that survive a knock versus the ones that start fires. The 3 fuels that burn clean and the one beside them that burns half as bright. The ventilation math that separates backup heat from a hospital visit. It's all in the suppressed file, step by step. Scan the QR code on your screen or hit the first link in the description and get it now. Let me keep going. Now let me show you what actually works and what it truly costs. A basic Dietz-style hurricane lamp costs about $11. It holds 8 ounces of fuel and burns for 11 hours on a single fill. That single fill works out to 2 or 3 cents of fuel per hour of light. When was the last time you got an hour of anything for 3 cents? Still watching? Then you already grasp something most people scrolling past this never will. The most reliable light in a crisis is the one that needs no charge, no signal, no grid. This is the file the battery industry hates. Scan the QR code on your screen or hit the first link in the description and get it now. The lamp your great-grandparents used was not primitive. It was refined for a century. The glass chimney is not decoration. It creates a draft that pulls air past the flame. That draft burns the fuel more completely, which is why a proper lamp barely smokes. A flat wick lamp puts out the least light of the family. A center draft round wick puts out 3 to 4 times more than that flat wick. A pressurized mantle lantern is brighter still, reaching the range of a small electric bulb. None of this is guesswork. It is the same combustion science that lit every home before 1940. And here is the fact the battery aisle hopes you never connect. In 1930, more than 90% of rural American homes lit with kerosene. Your grandparents did not choose lamps because they were poor. They chose them because they worked. Rural areas were not fully wired until the 1950s. That is within living memory. An entire generation ran a household on this fuel through the Depression and through the war. The knowledge did not vanish because it stopped working. It vanished because a wire reached the house. Now stay with me, because the next part is where careless people get hurt. So let's talk about heat, honestly, because this is where the myths live. A single hurricane lamp throws off around 900 BTU per hour. That will not heat a house. Let me be blunt about that up front. But 5 lamps in a closed 20 by 25 foot room raise at about 1 degree an hour. A gallon of kerosene holds roughly 135,000 BTU of stored energy. That is about 50% more energy than the same volume of propane. A dedicated wick kerosene heater is a completely different animal. Those run 11,000 BTU per hour and up, enough to keep a single room survivable. During a multi-day winter outage, 1 warm room is the entire game. Not the house, 1 room. That is what your grandparents heated, and that is your target too. Here is why none of this reaches your television screen. You cannot patent a design from the 1800s. The lamp is public domain. There is no recurring revenue in a fuel that stores for 5 years and a lamp that lasts 50. The money lives in the battery you replace every season, and the power bank you charge every night. A device that needs nothing from them is a device they have no reason to sell you. It is not a conspiracy. It is just what an incentive does when nobody's watching it. Now here's how you actually run one without hurting yourself. Fill the fount with clear K, 1 kerosene, or a clean lamp oil. Never gasoline. Gasoline in a lamp is a bomb. Light it low, then raise the flame slowly as the chimney warms up. Keep it far from curtains and never leave an open flame alone with a child or a pet. That is the basic version. The complete method is in the file. Now let me be honest about the limits, because your safety outweighs any sale. Burning any fuel indoors consumes oxygen and releases combustion byproducts into the room. The World Health Organization warns against routine indoor kerosene use for exactly this reason. This is a backup for an emergency, not a way of life. That distinction matters. You crack a window, you run a carbon monoxide detector. Those steps are not optional. Kerosene smoke carries fine particulate matter you do not want in your lungs day after day. For a 3-day outage with proper ventilation, a lamp is a proven and trusted tool. As your only light for a year, it becomes a health problem. Use it for what it is for. The pinned comment has the 3 fuels ranked and the 2 lamps I trust most. Now let's connect all of it, because these pieces form a single picture. The dead battery drawer, the gasoline that spoils, the branded gear that always needs charging. Every one of them keeps you tethered to a supply chain that fails at the worst possible moment. The lamp cuts that tether clean, fuel that stores for years, a device that needs no grid at all, light and heat your family ran on for generations before a single wire ever reached the farm. That is not nostalgia. That is a backup that refuses to expire in a drawer. So here is the choice, and it is a simple one. You can keep buying batteries that die in the dark and generators that spoil in the shed, or you keep one $11 lamp and a few gallons of fuel that's still light in 5 years. The grid will fail again. It always does. The only question is what you reach for when it does. Subscribe so the next file is not one you miss. The light your grandparents used never needed permission from the grid. Now you know why.